Hello, this is Gambia 24 with me, Sona Tunkara. Let's look at our news bulletin. Christians raised concern over the unequal treatment of religions by the state. Gambians in the diaspora will vote for the first time in 2021 election. These and more coming up on Gambia 24. Stay tuned. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. Dr. Philip Sen, a Christian and a public health specialist, has expressed concern over President Adama Barrow's declaration of the Muslim New Feast as a public holiday, where the same significance was not accorded to St. Mary, a Christian feast which preceded the Muslim New Year. This decision has raised concern from Christians and even some Muslims on social media and sparked a fresh debate about double standards or preferential treatment of one faith over another by Gambian government. More in this report filed by me.
The Christian feast of St. Mary celebrates the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ, on August 15th each year. The day is traditionally recognized as a faith-based holiday in the Gambia since the 1950s. However, this year it passed without the President Adama Barrow declaring a public holiday as he did for the Muslim New Year feast that was observed on August 29. Dr. Philip Sen, a Christian and a public specialist, told iAfrica TV that the President not declaring St. Mary a public holiday was both surprising, shocking and disappointing.
So for this year, it was a surprise, it was shocking, it was disappointing that it was not declared a national holiday. And we thought at that time that probably it's due to the COVID-19 pandemic health regulations. And also some people thought that Saturday was not a statutory public holiday. That for these reasons, it was not declared. And nobody queried anything, and it went on. We had our disappointment. We tried to celebrate it, conforming with the regulations. Then, 2 weeks later, before the 2 weeks even, 3 days to the Muslim New Year feast of Ashura, it was announced over GRTS that that Saturday would be a national day of rest.
In recent years, the Christian community has felt overlooked in key government decisions affecting faith, including ex-President Yahya Jammeh's declaration of the country as an Islamic state in 2015. But as the country tried to break with its brutal past, Christians, like most Gambians, celebrated the coming of Adama Barrow. Dr. Sen said he hopes Barrow does not descend into the route of former President Jammeh.
I hope not. When this president for the Third Republic came in, we all jubilated because we thought that was bringing a new era, an end to the tyranny, to the fears that we were under the Second Republic. We thought it has brought that to an end. And up till now, it is our fervent hope that it is so, that we will follow the new path, the new Gambia that we all anticipated and eager to support. It is our country.
Last week, Dr. Sen wrote an open letter to President Barrow after social media demands for an apology were unheeded. This, according to him, shows the president's total indifference to Christians' concerns. Many Christians anticipate an answer to the question, How comes the president and his religious affairs advisors were fully awake for the celebration of the Muslim New Year and not sang Mary for Christians? For iAfrica TV, Sohna Tunkara.
Well, from that report now, a Gambian-born chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court faces more pressure as the U.S. have imposed sanctions on her together with other officials of the ICC. The U.S. Reeve Swede Fatou Bensouda stemmed from the ICC investigation into alleged involvement of the U.S. military troops in war crimes in Afghanistan. The U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo described the court's investigation, which began earlier this month, as illegitimate, since the U.S. is not a signatory to the Rome Statute, which established the ICC. In June 2020, the Trump administration issued an executive order blocking all assets of ICC employees and banning them from entering the U.S. Despite the sanctions, the ICC reassures its firm stance in prosecuting international war crimes and crimes against humanity. Moving on, in the spirit of driving the coronavirus from the source of the Gambia, the Red Cross Society on Monday launched its community and accountability approach as its headquarters in Kanifing. The aim of this initiative is to improve communities to actively participate in the fight against the respiratory disease. This story is by Ibrahima John, but Julden Jai Swara reports.
The Gambia Red Cross Society is visibly spearheading this fight against COVID-19. They voluntarily execute the burial of those killed by the virus almost on a daily basis. But they are also empowering and enhancing the public health and socio-economic systems to minimize the effect of the pandemic in the Gambia. Speaking at the launch of the community and accountability approach, Buba Dabo, the disaster management coordinator of the Gambia Red Cross Society, said there was a need to involve communities to cope the spread of the virus because community transmission was on the rise.
How are we going to do this? It's very simple. Because of our response plan, we now want to engage the communities themselves. We have been talking to the radios, from TVs. We have been doing caravans ourselves, but yet still the disease is upsurging in the community. So we thought the best option now is to engage the people themselves, to talk to their people.
The voluntary organization began its community engagement approach with the One Gambia COVID response in Banjul. The outcome was positive and the initiative is being extended to other communities across the country, according to Alassane Senghor, the Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society.
As you might have heard, the train had already left the station. A couple of weeks ago, we were approached by One Gambia COVID Banjul, and we started working with them through our branch in Banjul, and they were able to deliver in 2 weeks very tangible results from what you've heard from Mr. Jahate, who is the chair of the Banjul branch. And we will continue to engage. Because of that success and because of that achievements in Banjul, we decided that we need to look at, one, the context of COVID in this country. Two, as Buba rightly alluded, we have a plan, a preparedness and response plan, which is based on scenarios, but also very dynamic in the sense that from time to time, based on the context, we need to revise the plan so that it adequately addresses the needs at that particular time.
Modu Toure, the communication officer of the Gambia Red Cross Society, said they are already in touch with other local communities to inform them about the ideas of new approach to fighting the coronavirus. There are more than 3,000 confirmed cases of the virus in the Gambia, including 96 deaths, and a little over 1,000 recoveries as of 1st September 2020. For iAfrica News, I am Julden Jai Suare.
Well, the fight against COVID-19 pandemic continues around the globe. Now, shop owners and pedestrians and highway vendors have launched serious complaints over the piles of garbage as a result of the gutter cleansing exercise by agents of the National Road Authority. The trusses has since been abandoned on the roadside, causing offensive odor in the affected areas. Mariama Cham tells us more.
As the world continues to battle the deadly COVID-19 pandemic, one of its safety measures of hygiene is being violated as the 2020 rainy season presents challenges on the drainage system within the Greater Banjul area. The solution to unclog water passage along the busy Westfield-Birkama highway is now manifesting environmental pollution after the refuse from the gutters formed heaps mainly on the footpath. This situation obstructs the pace of hygiene for businesses that have their work yards infested with all forms of rubbish from the waterways. Although the intention for the activity might have been positive, the outcome, according to the affected individuals, provides a nutritive breeding ground for the malaria-causing mosquitoes and other insects. Ivan Gregba, a shop owner, is among those who welcome the cleansing idea, but not without blaming the authority for the failure in getting a proper full stop.
It's really good. It's really part of the development of the country. But this thing is really affecting us as we who have shops on the highway. Because sometimes when they remove it out from here, it used to be here at least 2 or even 3 weeks. So sometimes even block customers from coming. Sometimes these cars that are passing here, they just come and when somebody wants to park a car around here, they just come and march on it and everything will come back by the shop side. I think if they are to do that, they can remove it and move it from people's shop, but sometimes they come and put it at the center of your shop. So all that people are coming, they are marching it, bringing in the dirty inside the shop, and some they come, car will just come and spoil everything. Everything will be coming back to the shop.
The garbage pollution is a concern for even pedestrians like Ibrahim Danso, who told iAfrica that the health and well-being of the people should have been calculated.
Because it's very sometimes
the garbage is really disturbing us a lot. This has been here since the day it was removed from the gutters. Sometimes customers will prefer to stay away due to the bad odor of the garbage. There is black oil inside the gutters, so when it rains and drivers overspeed, it will enter in our shops. We really want this garbage to be cleared from here.
With the long term of inaction as regards to the removal of the garbage on the roadsides, Abdurrahman Jallo expressed concern on possible exposure of the meat in his butchery shop.
It is almost 1 week since this garbage was left here. Even sometimes, my customers will complain that I should call people who are responsible to remove the garbages, or any KMC vehicle that is passing by. My response to them is that I cannot call them because I was not the one who assigned them to do so. I am really in a haste for these garbages to be removed from here because it is really affecting me.
However, Bakari Mane, public relations officer of the National Road Authority, admits that the garbage has been there for a while without being collected. He also said that those responsible also had challenges cleaning the garbage on the roadside.
You have rubbish that stays. I will not argue with that. That stays more than a day on the road. I mean, we heard about that one and we followed it. We make sure they pick it so that the road will be free. In fact, that one even added unnecessary traffic jam during that time, which is not right. But it's not their fault. It's not our fault. I am saying collectively, it's the fault of the whole Gambia government. We should take the responsibility. When it's right, we should come and say this is right. When it's wrong, we should say it's wrong, but we should not be doing the blame game to everybody or anybody to say no, it's not institution X, it should be institution Y. That will not take us anywhere.
Mane said people need a change in attitude and should refrain from connecting their home sockaway to the gutters.
The saddest thing on this operation, attitude needs to be changed in this country. The drains are being constructed purposely to drain out the stormwater. That is the rainwater. The people living or the people doing business along these roads, we are saying, especially Westfield to Lamen, this is where the huge problem is. Pampas, how do you call it? Pampas. To take Pampas from your own house, you come and dump it into the drain. What are we sending out to other nations? Everybody is at sleep. You take your own rubbish, you come and dump it into the drain. We have bottles, all kind of bottles, alcohol, non-alcohol, anything into the drains. Everything, all kind of rubbish is in the drain. It even come to our notice. One of our contractors calls us at Latrikunda, that can you come here because we cannot clean here. Why? Says somebody connected to the sewage. Can you imagine? The sockaway. You connect your sockaway into the drains.
For iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
Well, as the 2021 election nears, Gambians in the diaspora will vote in national elections for the first time in the country's history when polls open for presidential, legislative, and local government ballots. In May, the Independent Electoral Commission announced it has included diaspora participation because electoral reforms, including giving all a chance to vote. But how significant was this announcement? Mariama Cham finds out.
In 2015, there were nearly 90,000 Gambians abroad, according to the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. In 2016, this group of Gambians who could not vote helped influence the elections by sending more than $100,000 to the opposition coalition, which ousted a 22-year dictatorship that entrenched their exclusion. While not every single one of them is likely to cast their ballot in 2021, a significant number of them are politically active and are likely to take part in the vote. But can they make a difference? Pasamba Jau, a prominent activist based in the United States, thinks so.
Part of the diaspora voting capacity. Because you're talking about a voting bloc that is over 150,000. Is more than half of what Adam Barrow was able to secure, my math is right, to get the presidency. So, and you're talking about a voting bloc that only is politically active, but one that is financially viable.
While diaspora Gambians to vote was guaranteed in the country's constitution of the 1997, a dictatorship that showed them as rebellious pushed most of them out and disregarded their constitutional rights. Now, after financially helping end that dictatorship, diaspora Gambians are optimistic that their long-held wishes of directly participating in national elections will be achieved.
But the IEC has finally decided to, at least, has made a declaration of intent that we, the diasporans, will finally participate in elections.
The Gambia's election body, the IEC, wants to be seen to be doing things right after overseeing elections that ended what some call the worst dictatorship you have ever heard of. Its public relations officer, Joseph Collis, said it was important to implement the laws that provided for diaspora voting.
That the IEC has been trying to do these things because they're part of the laws, but to no avail. But this electoral cycle, we have sort of decided to put it in so that at least our people in the diaspora can also exercise the franchise, because we know they contribute a lot, to this country, especially the economic growth of the country, even in the political arena. So that's why we deem it necessary to make sure that at least we comply with the provisions of the law, to make sure that at least they are catered for. Yeah.
While Collie is optimistic this could work, he is aware of possible challenges in voter registration and voting by some members of the diaspora. There are problems of lack of documentation among them.
Because not just saying that you are Gambian will let you. You have to prove that you are Gambian. And like in certain countries, like if for instance, if you take their nationality, you forfeit your own nationality. I know in certain countries you have dual citizenship, but I think Finland, up to some few years ago, if you become a Finnish national, you forfeit These are some of the things that we look at. There are challenges with this, but we have counterparts that we're working with, so that at least we have the statistics that will inform us as to which country to go.
The 2021 elections will be crucial, according to Malik Jones, an election night analyst. He said it was important that political parties have representatives in every selected country for the purpose of transparency.
So, whether each of these parties, the political parties that are going to take part in the elections, will have their representatives there to be able to monitor and to be able to, shall I say, give their okay to the results, vouch that these results are authentic. Now, you must have independent people as well who will also oversee. So it's going to be a costly affair, but I believe that the IEC is a very unique organization here, and I trust that they will be able to run these elections, which will look at the diaspora in a very fair and transparent way.
Malik Jones said the reality of the diaspora voting process depends on the readiness of the Electoral Commission and the government.
2021 is going to be crucial. We still have a pending by-election in Yamina. We still have a referendum for the new constitution, plus the presidential election, National Assembly elections, mayoral elections. These are all very costly. So for me, voting in the diaspora, this is going to be a pilot project, and it is going to be a test for the IEC to see whether it is sustainable or not.
The Gambia is transitioning to proper ballot in the next cycle of elections, having used the decades-old marbles and drums. Should a new constitution be adopted before the 2021 polls, the country will also, for the first time, adopt a second ballot system where candidates fail to win more than 50% of the votes face off in a second round. The West African country had, since independence in 1965, used the first-past-the-post system of voting, where a simple majority decides the outcome of the elections. For iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
From that report by Mariama Cham, let's take a look at our latest COVID-19 update. The Gambia has recorded one new COVID-19 related death on Wednesday, the first in 5 days. The total number of COVID-19 deaths is now 97. 36 new cases were also reported by the Ministry of Health. The total number of confirmed cases is now 3,067, of which 1,703 are under treatment and 1,267 have recovered. Due to the surge in the number of coronavirus cases last week, President Adama Barrow extended the nighttime curfew by another 21 days and maintained the state of public emergency. Well, with that brings this edition of Gambia 24 with me, Sohna Tunkara, to an end. Please do join my colleague Ibrahim Agay with the news in Wolof shortly. Good evening.